Meanwhile, let's segue to what one of the biggest stories of the weekend clearly was, the knee injury sustained by the young superstar Ja Morant as the Grizzlies were getting blown out by Golden State in Game 3. He limped off the court late in the fourth after Jordan Poole grabbed his right knee during a trap near half court. Now, Morant did not talk to reporters after the game. He did then tweet later in the night, broke the code. That's obviously in reference to what Steve Kerr had been saying early in the series about Dillon Brooks. He subsequently deleted that post. Ja did. In the meantime, here's what both coaches had to say.
Ja was playing great, feeling great all game, and the grab of the knee is what triggered the potential injury and why we took Ja out of the game. So nothing's changed from there in terms of that was the play that triggered this.
I watched the play. There's nothing to comment on.
All right, Steve Kerr clearly had been the one who broke the code and all that kind of stuff. And so again, Tim Legler, Brian Windhorst, and Jay Will, I will start with you. Was the Jordan Poole play on Ja, is that a dirty play? Is that the breaking of a code?
No, it looked awkward. I didn't think it was dirty. I think if you're talking about awkward plays, even the play that you had before that, Desmond Bane diving into the legs for a loose ball of Jordan Poole when the ball is kind of nowhere in the play, that could have been deemed more of a dirtier play to me than this one. But this to me, and I get what Ja's saying, it's ultimately a bad look when you lose a game by 20 plus points and then afterwards you say broke the code on your knee, even though you deleted it. It just seems like it's excuses when I want Ja to say, hey, look, they played better than us today.
You know, Windy, you were making a similar point, and that maybe, the Grizzlies, we've wondered about their youth and inexperience, and maybe a little of that is showing here?
Let's just be honest. I mean, it's terrible that Ja Morant appears to be injured here and is not sure we're going to play tonight. There was no comparison between this play where Jordan Poole appears to be reaching for the ball and what happened with Dillon Brooks earlier in the series. It's not comparison. And maybe Steve Kerr went a little overboard with his, break the code comments. But the way the Grizzlies were sort of campaigning for a suspension, declaring that they were going to go to the league office here, that's just not appropriate for what's going on. And, one of the things I love about the Grizzlies is their exuberance and their enthusiasm. But they get a little, too excitable at times. They need to play with a little bit more and act with a little bit more maturity. I really hope Ja can play. I feel terrible about this, but this was not an intentional play. You don't have to freeze it frame by frame to understand that.
And so, Legs, then I wanted to ask you, as one, you played a lot of years in the league, you played in a more physical area, you played in playoff games. There's been a lot of talk. We've seen some ugly plays. Is this a dirty series? Has this series had gone beyond the pale in moments, in your opinion?
No, not at all. I think the only dirty play was the play by Dillon Brooks on the breakaway. I think that's a very dangerous play. I've looked at this replay here with Jordan Poole and Ja Morant 10 times. And I keep saying to myself, unless Jordan Poole is either James Bond or, for our older viewers, Maxwell Smart, and he was able to somehow extract a tiny hammer from the center of his hand that hit Ja Morant in the knee, I just don't see how we're making anything out of this other than the fact that, hey, Ja Morant is a superstar. He's the face of this franchise, and now, he's got a knee injury. But to think in some way that that's a dirty play on a part of Jordan Poole, I just can't even figure out, with that amount of contact and what he did, that to me, completely incidental, by the way, how that caused any sort of injury on the part of Ja Morant. It's just a real head scratcher for me. But to answer your question, this series has not been dirty in any way, shape, or form. The only dirty play was the Dillon Brooks hard foul on Gary Payton.
Feels worth mentioning that the Grizzlies this year were spectacular playing without Ja Morant. Now, he's been so good, it seems ridiculous to even bring that up. But for whatever it's worth, they were 19-2 this year, I think, in games that Ja Morant didn't play. So his absence doesn't necessarily mean they have no chance whatsoever to win tonight. Quick thought on that.
I don't think they have a chance to win tonight.
He's
averaging 38 points.
To be honest with you, I kind of agree with that.
Not tonight.
Playoff
basketball is different.
As I was saying it, I was thinking, this is a stupid thing to be saying, Greenberg. Move on to something else. So let's do it. Let's go to the... Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.